Hi, my name is Jenny Darlington Person. I'm the executive director of the Arts Council of Placer County, and I wanted to welcome everybody to our workshop on film permitting in Placer, Sacramento, El Dorado, and Nevada counties. Um, our goal for this program is to demystify local regulation in filmmaking so that we can proverbially cut out the red tape and roll out the red carpet for filmmakers across our region. And this will serve as a resource for people once we complete this workshop today. It'll be on our website, and we'll have the ability to make shorter versions for each county to use as a resource in your counties as well. Um, I would like folks who are, I guess we've all sort of, well, we haven't, if you could introduce yourself in the chat. And if you did not pre-register, please include your email in in your introduction, your name, where your interest, what area you're from, etc. would be great. Um, each presenter will have about 20 minutes to present their material. If there's time within those presentations, we'll also take questions but there will be time at the end also for question and answer. But if you're listening to the presentation and a question comes to you and you don't want to forget it, you can always put that in the chat and we will ask it when it's appropriate. All right, I am going to first turn it over to Julie to introduce herself and do a presentation from Placer County.
Thank you, Jenny. I'm Julie from the Placer Lake Tahoe Film Office. I've been working for Placer County for over 20 years, and I've been running the film office since 2020. Part of what I cover is from Roseville all the way up to Lake Tahoe. So we cover a lot of the ruggedness, the suburban landscapes when we're permitting. Also, keep in mind, we also have incorporated cities like Auburn, Colfax, Lincoln, Loomis, Rockland, and Roseville that also have their own permitting processes involved. So anything in those cities, we do not permit, but anything outside of those cities, we do. Jurisdiction wise, one of the tougher ones to permit is the Tahoe area, since there's so many different jurisdictions. That's what we're here to help you with is if you're filming in a location where you're standing, give us your coordinates and then we can figure out which jurisdiction you need to be contacting in order to film in those areas. So that's one of the things that I handle. Do you have my slides by any chance, Patrick?
I do. I can put those up, or if you'd like to
Yes,
share them,
please.
You got it. One sec.
There we go.
All right.
Second slide, perfect. So our film permits are free in Placer County. Obviously, locations are not always free, but our permits are free. So any county-owned properties, private properties, and unincorporated Placer County areas is what we do cover, as I mentioned before. And to find out more information, you want to go to filmplacertahoe.com and our application is online for our permits. We then review them, we get back to you, and from there, we might ask you a few more questions. What makes the permitting process flow much easier is to give as much detail as possible in that activity section. So what you're going to be doing, if there's going to be fire, pyrotechnics, drone work, those are the things we need to know about. Next slide. So these were uh the incorporated cities that we were mentioning. So the city of Auburn, Colfax, Lincoln, Loomis, Rockland, and Roseville. When I say that is if you're filming within those cities, jurisdictions, then you're going to contact them to get what they require, and they fill out their application versus our application. So we can move on to the next one, please. Thank you. So, drones are a big one. We want as much information. We follow the California Film Commission's guidelines for drone work. So there's a checklist that I send out to our filmmakers. Of course, insurance is a big one. We want insurance for your drone operators. We also want licensed drone operators that are licensed to do that kind of work, and a certificate, a registration for your drone. Our other thing that we have that's a very popular location in our county is the historic courthouse. That one also requires insurance. So you want to make sure as a production company, you have your insurance in place. And there you go. So you can move on to the next slide, please. And if you have any questions from here on out, let me know. Short and sweet.
Julie, I had a question.
Yeah,
You mentioned the historic courthouse. That is in the city of Auburn, but is that the jurisdiction of the county because it's a county property? Is that how that works?
correct, correct. So, in the city of Auburn, there are little pockets of places that belong to Placer County, and that is one of them. So, you can film on the sidewalk looking at the courthouse, but once you cross that sidewalk and walk onto that property, it becomes Placer County jurisdiction. Lower level. The upper levels actually belong to the California court system, and that belongs to a whole nother jurisdiction as well. So the lower half of the historic courthouse belongs to Placer County Museums, and then facilities also runs the steps. So we get weddings on those steps, but we also go through us to do filming on those.
Are there any other buildings? So you're there to help people navigate those sort of murky waters where there's
Correct.
multiple jurisdictions within the same space.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So, another like another little pocket would be the other it's the Railroad Museum that's in Auburn. That was also Placer County run. So that would also be under our jurisdiction. So, like I said, there's different little pockets within the Auburn area.
Great. Does anybody else have any other questions about filming in Placer County? I just started talking and muted myself at the same time. Let's move on to Sacramento County, please.
All right. Hi, I'm Jennifer West. I'm the Sacramento Film Commissioner, so I represent the county at large. Technically, I work for the city of Sacramento, so I only do the permitting for the city of Sacramento. But I'm here to help you navigate the jurisdictions, but also find locations throughout the entire county. I am going to share my screen. I'm going to try. Okay. Are you seeing my screen? Okay, great. I think you guys see it.
We see it. I
Okay,
see
perfect.
it.
So this is our website. It's filmsac.com. Basically, there is just a wealth of information here from the permitting process to our crew support services, the different jurisdictions that to help you navigate. So we've got unincorporated Sacramento County, City of Sacramento, City of Galt, Ileton, Folsom, Elk Grove, Rancho, West Sacramento, and Citrus Heights. So those are all of the areas, the permitting jurisdictions within our area. Let me go back. So as you can see, this is probably the most confusing thing for people. It's just that there are so many different jurisdictions. And on top of that, in the city, we also have a lot of state properties, which the California Film Commission permits. So along with bridges done by Caltrans and waterways done by others. So it does get confusing. So I always just tell people the best way to really, navigate the area you're in is to always call your film office. So if we go into the permitting tab here, you can go to film permitting. So basically in Sacramento County, film permits are required for public and private property. So that's a big one. People sort of get confused. Oh, I'm just shooting in a, you know, in an apartment building. I don't need a permit. Actually, in the county of Sacramento, you do. You do need a film permit when it's for commercial use. All right, that's a big qualifier. So it's always good to, if you have any questions, touch base with us, and we'll help you determine whether a permit is required or not. Our permits are $100. Most of our city parks and buildings are free for those locations when you get a film permit. Film permitting, and the thing that always trips people up is the insurance requirements. Um, you know, it looks like they were demanding all of this information, but ultimately it's not that hard once you sort of understand it. But I get that people have questions. So we're happy to walk you through or put you in touch with our risk management department who can help explain further why these things are needed. But I just want to stress that insurance, the reason that, you know, all of us municipalities require insurance is to keep you and your crew safe, all right, while you're in our jurisdiction. You know, there are horror stories out there of people, you know, all of their film equipment being stolen, right? And if you don't have insurance, you're just out of that. God forbid somebody on your crew gets hit by a car crossing the street, right? You don't, I mean, if you don't have insurance, that crew member is going to turn around and sue you as the producer of that film. So we're here to just make sure that you're filming safely. So insurance requirements and the permit are really the first thing that would be submitted. Hopefully, before even submitting the permit, we've had conversations about what it is you're filming, where you're filming, you know, and asking all the questions. Do you need police support? Are you closing a street? Like Julie said, are you going to have pyrotechnics? Do you have drone filming? All of those things. Do you need parking? So, you know, we've got parking here and how to apply for that, police support, fire, drone filming. Much like Julie said, we also follow the California Film Commission in requiring the drone operator's license, the drone certificate, drone insurance, and the operator's name and cell phone number, so that in case there are any complaints, PD can get a hold of the drone operator. And when I say PD, that's our air ops department of the PD. You can see here our neighborhood notifications, when a notification might be expected. Street closures, amplified sound, simulated violence is a big one. If you have simulated violence, that's something that we're going to need to have a conversation with PD and you to determine what that simulated violence is. And again, you know, it's all just to make sure that if you have a fight scene in a park or on a street, that you know, people, the average citizen isn't going to call 911 and you know, think this is a real fight, right? So we're notifying the police department that this is for filming. We're notifying the 911 department who might be receiving those calls, that they can reassure the public that no, this is a film and they're filming. And then just some other additional contacts here. So in addition to our permitting, I just real quickly just want to let you know that we have this entire locations library broken out into neighborhoods, airports, you know, Cal Expo, I mean, just industry, whatever you might need. A lot of these are just examples of things that we have here in Sacramento, but this approved locations here is something that we actually have contact information for these locations. So it would be quicker to contact these people and be able to film here. So that's a good resource. And then additionally, we have resources, our rebate program, which I would be remiss if I didn't mention. Basically, we have $250,000. If you spend $1 million in the city, you get $250,000 back. We have a grants program. The grant is open right now. It closes March 15th. We have an internship program, and then just a lot of different resources on our website. So I encourage you to peruse that if you're thinking about filming in the Sacramento area. And then, of course, always just give us a call, shoot us an email, and let us know how we can be helpful.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jennifer. Just a quick clarifying question. You said the grant closes March 15th. I assume you meant
Oh,
May.
I did. May 15th.
Okay.
Yeah. Oopsies. What month are we in? I swear, it's gone so fast.
Right? It does feel
Yeah.
like it should be March, especially
Yeah.
with this weather we've had. It
All
feels like
right.
we are in March.
Yeah. Thanks
Um,
for that. Thanks for the clarifying.
um, no problem. Anybody have any questions for Jennifer?
So I've actually just a couple weekends ago went to the Sacramento Sacktown Film Festival,
Oh, cool.
and I was really interested in how, they were able to get those places and stuff like that. So coming to this was very helpful to
Yeah,
learning.
I worked with many of those films, at least the ones that filmed in the Sacramento
Yeah.
area, and I actually went and supported, and I sponsored that event. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun to
Yeah.
see them on the big screen because I only
Oh,
see them when I'm permitting, or maybe I'll show up for a site visit, and just. And again, like I can't stress enough, we're not the permit police.
right.
We're here to help you and to give you resources and make sure you're filming safely. We're not here to shut down, filming projects, but I do love to go to set visits. I do love to see, the day to day, what's happening on set. And so it's fun for me to go to the film festivals and actually be able to see all of that work come together on the big screen.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
going to that film festival was amazing. I mean, I not only met friends from that I've worked with in the past 10 years, um, but I've networked with new people to try and get them on board with my film that I'm trying to put together. So,
Awesome. Well, let us know if it can be helpful.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, I know I've also assisted with some of those films as well. Some of them filmed on in Placer County facility as
Yes,
well.
yes.
Mhm.
There were actually some that at the end it said filmed in Placer County.
Exactly, exactly. So we all do that. And I think we all have locations on all of our websites, if I'm not correct. So we all help in that area as well.
Awesome.
Before I we wait, oh wait, did we just oh what oh Denise is asking a question. What is the approximate turnaround for the grant approval?
Um, look, yeah, okay. So for the grant, basically, it's open for 2 months, and then once it closes, then we look at eligibility, make sure that we're checking to make sure everything's available. That takes a few days. Then we meet with the panel discussion. We give the panel about 2 weeks to deliver over all of the applications. And then we meet and discuss each application and score them. So it can take about 3 weeks before we have clear-cut grantee winners, essentially. So from the time of close, about 3 weeks, and then we go, and then the awardees go into a whole nother process of, signing contracts and all of that stuff. When it comes to the permit, I think we all shoot for a quick turnaround time on the permitting process. I state that once I have, the permit application, we've had discussions, and I have all of the appropriate insurance requirements, I can turn a permit around pretty quickly. I say within 3 days, sometimes even sooner. But the more involved a permit is, if you need, PD, fire, uh, drone, any of that stuff can really slow down a permit. So that's going to vary as well. But I think we all shoot for a 3-day turnaround.
All right. Oh, before we move on, someone who joined us a little bit late, but I want to give a quick shout out to Jay Ross there, who is a board member of the Arts Council of Placer County. So I'm really happy to have one of our board members joining us today. And now moving on to Kimberly with Nevada County.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to share my screen as well. You can let me know that you see it.
We see it.
Okay, I got the thumbs up. So, hello everyone, I'm Kimberly Parker. I'm a little different than the two previous very sophisticated counties that you've talked to. We're just really getting our film program up and going. That being said, we are really here to help and serve, and we've been doing, quite a bit of work. And a great shout out to Julie and Kathleen from Placer and El Dorado, who've been helpful as we are kind of building out our program. I actually work in the Economic Development Office for Nevada County, and big part of my role, more and more it seems every day, is helping to make sure that filming here is as seamless and productive as possible. What you'll hear a little bit about today is how Nevada County can support your project, not just as a beautiful location, but also as a reliable partner on all sides of the film work. So why Nevada County? What makes Nevada County compelling is the fact that we have two cities and a town, Grass Valley, Nevada City on the western side of the county. And for those of you that may not know Nevada County, we are broken up a little bit by beautiful mountains. And so you have to get over the mountains to get to our eastern side, which is Truckee. All three of those do have film permitting. They don't really have film programs. And so one of the conversations we are starting to have is how about to make it more easy and seamless by having, people start through the county office. So I encourage people to start with my office, and I will get you connected to the towns and the cities as appropriate if you're going to be filming there. But Nevada County offers a relatively small footprint, but it has a great diversity of locations and all. Everything from historic downtowns with authentic gold rush era kinds of architecture. We have a lot of forest land. We have rivers and lakes. We have a lot of different looks without going too far. We also benefit from 4 distinct seasons. Although what's great about our area is that we don't really generally have the extreme weather that typically can disrupt a production. And so we're able to have people work within our area pretty easily. So we have a film-friendly approach, just like the others you have heard before me. And our approach is based, as you've also heard, on being responsive and solution-oriented. My office serves as the coordinating hub, helping to navigate not only the county processes, for example, if you need to be working with public works, or if there's insurance issues with our risk department or our sheriff's department. But we're able to not only help you get, to the right people, but get those answers quickly. Also trying to help and coordinate with those outside areas as well. I think Nevada County, El Dorado, and Placer, we all have kind of this distinct situation where depending where you film, you could be in a different area than you think. Julie and I work back and forth because someone thinks they're filming in Placer and it's actually Nevada, vice versa, going back and forth. But also you might have a place you're looking at that's on forest land or state parks or, those different areas as well. So we really try to help you work through that and figure out exactly where it is you're going to be filming and help you keep things moving. So a little bit about our permitting process. We've really worked hard to make our permitting easier. We recently updated our ordinance. Under the Nevada County Economic Development page, there is a film tab. The ordinance, I'm not sure if it's up there yet because it was just approved by the board, but it will be up there as well as other information. Our permit in the unconsolidated parts of Nevada County is a free permit. We have no charge. As I think was mentioned earlier, if there's an encroachment permit or something that you might be needing, you will potentially, have a cost to that. But again, we try to work you through that. Also, we are working on getting our location library. Julie, I wish I could say ours is up and running, but I expect by the time that many see this, we will have that up on our site, as well as guidelines. And then something that's been talked about a little bit, but also tips if people are filming on private property. We want to make it easy, even for those that are filming on a private property. And so working with those home and or business owners to understand, it's really important that they let us know that there's something going on, that they are, notifying neighbors and doing other things. We had an unfortunate incident earlier this year, way up in the top part of our county, where someone was filming on private property. The neighbors, no one knew what was going on, and so they called the county and filed a code complaint. When that happens, the county has no choice but to go up and investigate the complaint. Whereas if we knew that was going on, I could have talked to production people, probably would have just simplified a lot and hopefully wouldn't have slowed up production in any way. So working with our neighbors on all sides just to make sure that everything's happening appropriately. So we also have tremendous local assets, just as probably our other counties around us. We have a great not only backdrop, but we also have the ability to help support production. There's a growing base up here of local talent and creatives. It's amazing how many people I have found here that come from the film industry and very prestigious work in other places. So we're great to help you identify if you need it, regional crews, equipment resources. We also have solid lodging and dining and support services that can accommodate production of various sizes here. Not only, can we be a great place, but then the economic impact of film is tremendously strong. And the more we can build that in our region, the more that we can make film a prominent driver of our local economy, and therefore we will be able to build our program further and accommodate more projects. It's an important, part of our not only two cities and town, but our unincorporated areas. We understand that, film projects bring direct spending to our local businesses, utilize lodging, etc. Restaurants may need supplies and services. Again, that's something we can often help identify, but it also, the job opportunities, the creating the visibility for our region, which then also supports tourism and broader economic development goals for our area. So we supported a range of productions over time, independent films, commercials. I even know Julie filmed a commercial up here once when she was in a different role than she is in now, and other kinds of documentary and other work. That we all know that the key is being able to connect the right location with the right production need. And while it may or may not be in my county, if I'm talking to someone and I can accommodate what the need is in our county, my having partners with our other counties and understanding where to find their information, their locations, etc. That's part of my goal, is to try to connect people wherever that project will work best, even if it's not in my county. And even when projects vary in size from something that's very small, commercial that might only take a few hours. Rainbow Bridge, as an example, is one of the most iconic places that people want to film on in our community. And just a quick success story. That was filmed in Nevada County. This is the Hallmark movie, A Christmas Card. Not only did it bring economic impact during the filming and the accommodation of the filmmaker and crew and all during the time of the filming, but one of the great things is because the film actually used the actual name of Nevada City in that movie, we still to this day see people traveling to the area that want to come here because they saw the movie. And I can tell you from first experience, my sister who lives in Pennsylvania, when she and her husband visited here a number of years ago, I had to literally take them to every site that were the key sites that were filmed during that particular movie. Location-wide, Nevada County offers great strategic advantage. We are within reach of both Sacramento and San Francisco, making it feasible to access crew and resources while filming a more cost-effective and less congested environment. And for many productions, the balance of accessibility and flexibility and the ability to get what they need accomplished in a short period of time is key. As was said by Jennifer, we can turn permits around fairly quickly as long as we get the permit filled out, we get the insurance, and as she said, the partners, the one that we really haven't talked about is Caltrans is another partner that sometimes needs to be accommodated. We can generally turn our film permits around in just a couple days. We also follow with regards to drone usage, the same California Film Commission drone requirements that other places do. So I just want to say our role doesn't stop at permitting. We're engaged throughout our process. This includes the coordination, helping identify locations, making introductions, troubleshooting as needed, and once you're on the ground, being there to help if something comes up. I will say also, though, that the earlier that we can get involved with you, the more value we can bring forward in helping your production run efficiently. So we understand some things. Sometimes commercials are kind of planned very, very quickly with short time frames. But the more time that we can have, the more we can ensure that we're doing our best job through my office for you. So as I wrap up, I want to bring this back to what matters. For those of you that may not know, this is our beautiful Donner Lake, which is, again, one of the most iconic places that people like to film. Even though we're young and we're just starting out and we're building out our website, Nevada County is ready for film and we're ready to handle your production work. And we're here to set up and support you in a way that is responsive and straightforward. Our goal is to make it easy for you to focus on what you need to do, especially when you're here in our county. So if you are considering Nevada County for an upcoming project, I encourage you to reach out early as we welcome the opportunity to make things work for you. I want to thank you. Here is my contact information here, and I am happy as others to answer any questions people may have.
Does anyone have any questions specific for Kimberly? All right, I'm saving mine for the end because I have a couple for everyone, but I want to get through all four of our presentations first. And so last but certainly not least, we have El Dorado County and Kathleen.
Hi, Jenny. Thank you guys for putting this on, and thanks to all of my partners, film commissioners. I'm going to ask you to let me know when to kind of wrap up. I had to travel suddenly, and so I was in a room, and apparently someone had that room reserved, and so now I'm in the meditation room. So, needless to say, I'm a little handicapped. My clock is gone and I'm doing the best I can. But I'm really happy to be here. Most of the other film commissioners touched on a lot of things that I would touch on. So our film office has
Kathleen?
been,
Oh,
yes?
I was saying really quickly, don't rush and don't worry. We have lots of time. So just give your
Okay.
presentation as planned. Don't worry.
Well, I could go on forever. So at some point you will get the hook out and let me know, like it's the Gong Show. But so I've been doing this for over 30 years in El Dorado County. And as the film industry has changed with technology, so has this office. But I'll just start with some basics and then I'll go over where we're at. We're actually in transition with our office right now. So the permitting is in transition, and literally, I think I would have told you we had a different permitting structure every month this year because we are in transition, which is very unique for me because I've been doing this for so long. But I think we'll come up with something good that works for everybody. Um, we represent the El Dorado Lake Tahoe Film and Media Office represents from El Dorado Hills all the way up to South Lake Tahoe at the Nevada state line. What we do is we help filmmakers permit their projects. We also help them find locations, crew, vendors, local talent, and we do community outreach. And every year we do an annual regional event, and that helps people to connect. It is free to the public, and they can learn about the motion picture industry. This year, it will be at the Placerville Fairgrounds on June 5th. All the film commissions are welcome to join us, and I think most of them will be there. We're going to have a fabulous speaker. I can't release it yet, but I can tell you it's a producer who was nominated for an Academy Award in the last Oscars. So very excited about that. We also have something called the Movie Lover's Guide to Filming in El Dorado County. And that's for people who would like to see the projects that have already filmed and where they filmed. And it's kind of a tourism piece. So you can pick it up and there's a map and you can go, let's see where Top Gun shot. Let's see where Modern Family shot. Let's see where, yeah, Julie actually worked on a movie in our county too, probably more than one. Was it Retrievers? Was it the Retrievers was it The Conjuring? So if you get this, was it? Yes. Okay. So if you get this movie lover's guide, there's over 40 films, there's TV shows, and there's Top Gun. And it kind of shows where their major locations were. So that's a tourism crossover piece. One other thing I'll touch on, because honestly, so many of the film commissioners have already talked about the same things that I would be talking about: economic impact, how we want to help you. But one of the other thing is I'm a member of film liaisons in California statewide. And so as an organization, we try to work to find your project the right location. And of course, we would all love to have it in our counties if it works. But if it doesn't work, we want to keep you in the state of California. And so the liaisons are here to work as a liaison between the production company and the community. And that might be, so here are some of the agencies that are in my county that you might pull a permit. And I've had permits that have had 10, 12, maybe even more agencies involved easily. So county, and in county, it would be cemeteries, it would be airports, it would be roads. I have conservancies, I have BLM, I have state parks, state highways, I have 2 cities, I have private properties, I have art associations that own property that we might work with. I have the ski resorts and then the Forest Service, and this is just a few. I think we counted it and we have like over 85 different permitting agencies. So you want to come to a film commissioner. And another reason that you want to come to your film commissioner is because you might need something that works within your budget. And if you are a director who has an unlimited budget or a large budget, you might be picking the location just based on its production value. But if you're a smaller budget project, you might find that you don't want to take the time being rejected because you don't have the money to pay for a location. So if you come to me and you say, hey, we've got this much money to do something, because I know this community, as most of the film commissioners here, I can say, all right, well, that one's probably going to be too expensive for you because of the permit fees. Let's see if we can get you into a different area where you might not have any fees at all. And interesting too to notice the difference between, and this is for newer filmmakers, but some filmmakers don't understand there's a difference between a permit fee, which I think Julie touched on, and a location fee. So sometimes you get them both. A perfect example of that would be if you're shooting in the Forest Service and the Forest Service has a vendor. What does that mean? So let's say you're in the forest, but there is a ski resort there who now is leasing the forest land. You still need to pull a Forest Service permit because the forest retains the filming rights, but you need to negotiate with the vendor. So this is how a film commissioner can help you. We love it when you're honest and open and say, "Hey, I need help with this. I've never done this before." That's the best thing to do, is be really honest, because the more you explain to us, the more we can help you get through that process, because we are not the film police. We are here to help you do your project. We want you. And we have a great team right now, welcoming Kimberly into it. But I feel so lucky to have Jennifer in Sacramento now. She's just a fireball, and Julie is amazing. Just so good at building community and creating events like this. So, what else did I want to talk about? Oh, let's talk a little bit about. So, one of the things we have with our permit is a fire checklist. Sometimes, if you have a smaller project, you'll just get the checklist. You won't have to pay for a fire department. And that's something to kind of get familiar with, because with the way it has been in the state of California with fires, you definitely want to be fire safe. And I've had some crazy things happen on set. I guess that would be like another podcast, talk about crazy things that have happened on set. So I have had people called out because they thought someone was getting killed. And so we do want to know. I have a permit that I'm doing right now, and I had like 12 questions because maybe I need to know about stunts, maybe I don't. All weapons, whether live or not, we need to have reported, and we need to let the sheriffs know that someone's going to be wielding a machete, right? We need to have a gun handler if there are weapons on site. But even if there are prop weapons, we need to make sure that the community knows, because someone can be confused when they see those and think that they're actually witnessing an event. And that actually has happened to me before, where I've had the police called out. Um, Another example is about why it's so important to do these permits. I had a project with a phenomenal, an amazing location manager who does all of Clint Eastwood's productions. So he knew what he was doing, and he's a great guy, but he filed a permit with the Forest Service. And the permit said helicopter landing and taking off. And indeed, there was a helicopter landing and taking off. It was over Highway 50 in the mountains. It was a Sikorsky, and it was spinning. And as it was landing and taking off, it had green smoke coming from the back. So basically, what happened is everyone who was driving up Highway 50 called the police. And it was just an error. It was something that wasn't communicated. So this is probably one of the things, it's definitely one of the things that my office does, and I'm guessing the other film offices do, is we notify emergency service personnel, especially when we have big crews. And a lot of times I'll have big crews out in the middle of nowhere. Perfect example, Top Gun, right? There's a lot of people prepping, and anything could happen there. So it's important that emergency service knows, so that if they get a report that normally they would say, "Oh, that's no big deal. It's out in the middle. There's nobody there." Now they know, yes, there are hundreds of people out there. And I've had people get lost. I've had people get lost in Desolation Wilderness on the weekend. And so then we need to help the production company, because really they're just tourists in a way. They're coming here they're doing business, but they don't know our area. And so they need an advocate, someone they can call. So these are some of the many things that film liaisons in California statewide do. We also do an award show every year called the California On Location Awards. I'm a chairperson on that event, and we nominate people who have filmed in California and done a fabulous job, and they receive awards. And we've been doing those for over 30 years. So we also work with the Real Directory of Northern California. If you're a crew member and you want to get listed, you can do that for free. We have codes on our website. My website is filmtahoe.com. You can see our movie lovers guide there. You can get information about the film industry mixer. You can also see some permit information, but my permit is in transition. So right now, if you were to want a permit, it would be best to call me. And we are actually so impressed with Placer County Film Office, the way that they have done theirs. We're doing something similar, but moving it from being a hard copy to an online event is a big project. So that's what we're doing now. I have so many different agencies. Some of them have permit fees. I clerk for both the city of South Lake Tahoe and the city of Placerville. Um, and we do always permit private property. The reason we permit private property, and we also encourage you, if you have private property, come to us. Like right now, we've been working on a project where we need a certain type of home. So if you come to us and you have home, acreage, whatever, we want to hear about it because we can help you maximize your exposure by sharing those properties. Depending on what jurisdiction you're in El Dorado County, you might have a permit fee or you might not have a permit fee. Private property is important to be permitted, and we always require insurance. So I think that's across the board right. Now, what would not require a special insurance or permit from a film commissioner? A news story. Reality is not a news story. Documentary is not a news story. Those would be considered commercial, something that you are making to make money. So if you're taking pictures of your wedding, mom and dad are doing it, you don't need a permit. If you're hiring a business to come to a state park and take pictures, you will need a permit. Now, it's kind of tricky. Call your film commissioner. Hey, we're already paid for. Our services are free. Use them. If you're in, you got to tell me, Jenny, because I could go on forever. If you're interested, give me the hook. Is it time?
We're getting close, but I mean, if you have
Oh,
if you want to wrap up in a
a
minute
few
or
more
so,
things.
yeah.
Um, so if you're interested in using your property in filming, the California Film Commission has a lot of free information that you can get. And one of those pieces of information is called Your Property in a Starring Role. And a lot of times when we're filming at someone's house, and as a filmmaker, this is a very handy tool too. It has the filmmaker's code of responsibility in it. And that's interesting too. It's like, what are your responsibilities when you are out filming? And a lot of times, young filmmakers just don't know these things. You know, they don't understand if they're renting a house, it doesn't mean you can use their laundry. It doesn't mean you can use their bathrooms. And if you're doing a horror film and you do rent a house, there is a good chance that blood will never come out of the tile. And that is why we have insurance. So we permit private property in El Dorado County, particularly to look out for our property owners. Everybody's so excited about film. I mean, a lot of you have heard we've got some big projects coming to the area. It's exciting. And so then if you're a property owner and somebody knocks on your door and says, hey, I'm a producer, I want to come in and film, you don't always think of all the details. A lot of people don't know. And we don't want them to be taken advantage of. So if it is indeed a business, it's responsible for that business to take the liability while they're filming. Crazy things could happen. Maybe you have a celebrity or you're doing something in the front lawn and a car accident happens out in the front of your house because of that. All these things should not be the liability of the homeowner. What if something happens to the home? Again, should not be the liability of the homeowner. Or somebody trips over a cable from a camera. So there's so much that we can share. I encourage everyone here to come to the Film Industry Mixer. It's free. There's food, there's wine, there's going to be an incredible producer as our speaker this year. And this is where you can network with the film commissioners and with your peers and learn. And if you're an investor, please come. I have a lot of filmmakers who have said that they have actually met investors there and their projects have gotten kicked off. And it's going to be at the Placerville Fairgrounds, but that doesn't mean that you have to be filming. You can be filming in Sacramento. You can be filming in Placer. You can be filming in Nevada. Come and join us, network with this community. We've done studies and what we've learned about filming, and one of the biggest challenge to help this business in the state of California is that it's created by lots of little businesses. So when we have this mixer, what we're trying to do is connect everyone, because we are stronger than united we stand. And Screen Actors Guild will be there. So I'm honored to be here today, and thanks for letting me take so much time.
All right. If you send all the information about that mixer to news@placerarts.org, we will put that out to our mailing list. Um,
Oh,
I have
thank you
just
so much.
Yeah, I have a few questions that have come up for me that I think other people might have, especially folks that are rewatching this later. So I'm just going to ask a couple of questions to the whole group. One is that what I'm hearing is that the process of figuring out when you need a permit and who to go for that permit is complicated, and so they should reach out to you to find out. But also, is there an easy way to know when you don't need one? Like, is for everyone, is a non-commercial use okay to film, or are there other requirements as well? If I don't know if that made sense. Essentially, I'm asking in negative, but like let's say a person doesn't doesn't someone need a permit, but they're filming?
I'll go first.
News.
News, yeah, definitely news. Also unpaid projects, if it's like a for a church, and you're not paying your talent and stuff like that, that also falls under that jurisdiction. But most of basically, if you're making money from your project. So an example, our tourism office was doing a segment to promote Placer County. And if they had done it within house, then we wouldn't have asked for a permit, but they hired an outside company. And so that's when we started doing permits for them. So
So
that's an example. Also, Jenny, I remember that you guys reached out to me because you were also doing something similar, but you had an in-house photographer doing your promo. And that's when we decided that that was not, no application was needed for that because you were doing all your own work within house. So that would be one of those examples. Does that make sense?
yes, exactly. Perfect.
I would agree wholeheartedly with what um, Julie just said, but I would just say for us, just kind of that other piece, if it's a charitable organization, again, that is like trying to film something around their charity, but it is, again, they're using kind of volunteer unpaid, people, and again, it's not for commercial use, that would not need a permit for that.
I'll chime in. We actually have a waiver and not everyone would qualify for it, but if you think you do, you should try it. And it's for El Dorado County. We also have one for City of South Lake Tahoe. I think we might even have one for Placerville. And if your project in some way benefits the community, you can get the fees waived. That's up to their discretion. Actually, state parks, surprisingly, I don't know if this is still the case, but I believe state parks fees are discretional. It's up to the discretion of the park. They usually want to charge you the fees, but it's good to know that they are up to the park's discretion.
Yeah, and I think in Sacramento County, there is no real hard and fast. I mean, the hard and fast is what is, and the questions that we ask when people ask us is, what is your intention with this final project, right? What are you doing with it? Are you advertising a company? Well, then you're hoping that company makes money, in which case it is for commercial use, right? So, hard and fast, that's really hard to say. It's just best to call and we kind of ask the questions and get down to the nitty gritty. We also have a fee waiver for nonprofits and for students. That doesn't mean that you don't do a film permit because, you do the film permit, but you don't have to pay the fee. The reason for the film permit in my mind is that so we know where you are, so we know what you're doing, not only to be able to help promote your project, right? Like we want people to know how much filming is actually happening here in our jurisdictions. We want to be able to brag about your projects, right? So that film permit is the only way we know to track that experience that you're having in our county for the economic gains that you're giving to us. So I just really think that it's always just best to have a conversation, shoot an email, whatever it is, and let us help you kind of work through that process. I mean, most professional people in this business know a film permit is required. And so it's just usually people new to the industry, people who've never done it before, students, those types of things, who we spend a lot of time sort of educating and talking to.
I'd like to add one thing here as well. My name is Patrick Storm. I'm with the Arts Council of Placer County. I'm also a Part 107 drone operator. Just as a reminder for anyone, anytime you're using drones, a lot of the times I hear this, oh, well, this person is part of an organization, but they're just donating their drone work. They're not a drone pilot. They don't need a 107 because they're not charging us. It's not you. If you're using a drone, you should be using someone that has a Part 107 that has a current certificate. They have to be recertified every 2 years and they have to be insured. And it's very easy for people to go out and buy a drone at Costco or at Best Buy, but you need to check to make sure that they are a current Part 107 certificate holding pilot. It's very easy to cross that line to hobbyist to commercial. It's not about if money changes hands to the drone pilot. It's about the end use. So please be very careful and help support licensed drone pilots.
And also, please keep those freaking drones out of active fire zones.
Yes.
Which
And
actually
just because the Fly app zone says it's green and okay to fly there does not mean it's an approved area to fly in. There are plenty of places where the apps will tell you you can fly that are a no drone. You have to be able to read sectional charts. There are plenty of places that are not signed, like in Lake Tahoe around Kings Beach. You cannot fly a drone, but it's not signed, but it's on their website. So just because the app tells you you can fly doesn't mean you can.
Which actually was my next question that Patrick, my question was going to be there. I know there are areas you can't film, like can drones like film Kings Beach. Do you have a place on your website or is there a place people can go to find out that type of information, like where they can't film with the drone?
I'll jump in. No, I mean, I don't have that because it's too vast. That's why you go to a film commissioner. You put the location you'd like, and then you put your activity, which Julie was saying it's important to put your activity, and your activity is going to say aviation drone. And at that point, we determine if the area you're in will allow it. We have so much drone shooting in Tahoe that we actually have a vendor who does nothing but retrieve them from the pine trees. So, there's a lot. But we also, the other question that was mentioned is there any place you can't film? Yeah, you can't film in desolation wilderness. And we had a massive project come and try and bend those rules. It was very, very big and going, we just want to film in desolation wilderness. And desolation wilderness does not allow any commercial activity. So it's right, you can be in the forest right on the other side of desolation wilderness and you could film there. But once you hit desolation wilderness, no filming, no drones, no aviation, nada.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very much the similar thing along most of the California coast. You have to be very careful because we have so many marine sanctuaries. You are not allowed to fly below 1,000 feet. And many places like Pacific Grove and other places in California require their own permits, just like all of the other film commissions. But sectional charts and professional drone pilots are very important. And many times, the most important thing you can hear is no, we cannot fly there.
So Nick has a question. Nick, it says he's a watercolor artist who occasionally makes YouTube videos of historic locations and he's also painting those locations as well. And because he's basically it sounds like, and Nick, you can come off mute and describe it if you want. He's documenting his painting process in those historic locations. Does he need a permit for each place he's painting?
Anybody? I'll jump in.
Sure.
Well, so um, first of all, you if it's private property, you need an agreement. And if he's making money on the YouTube site, I would say it's commercial because it's basically he's making money off the site. So it's weird. It's that new media kind of area, but I would say yes. I mean, because if he is on property other than property that he owns, he should be insured. He should have permission to be on that property. Of course, it's hard to say across the board, yes, for every property you would have to, but I would definitely say that that's a gray area. And of course, we don't know if he's making money off the YouTube site. But if he's getting ads off the YouTube site, I would say that's commercial filming.
Nick, do you have any follow-up questions? Also, are you mostly filming in Placer County or all over this region?
So are you making money when you just sell the painting, or are you making money off the YouTube channel?
It
I think
doesn't
there's two
it
Oh,
things.
doesn't
sorry.
look like he has monetization turned on. So he says Nevada and Placer. So he's just making money off of the paintings that he's selling. It looks like but the YouTube is to help promote his paintings.
Yeah, so I think if he's making money only off the paintings and not the YouTube channel, then that's when I would say that is it. So that required
Okay,
on my,
perfect.
yeah.
And that was his correct. We're getting I see that people have added if all four of our presenters could add whatever contact information they would like people to use to get a hold of you, your email, phone number, whatever, in the chat. If you haven't already done that, please do. We will share. Patrick has kept a really nice list of resources that he's been adding to the chat as we've gone along for everyone, and we'll share that when we share the video with the people who registered but couldn't attend today. I just have one last question. Um, After everybody's heard everybody else's presentation, and heard the questions and everything else, is there any last piece of advice or information that any of our presenters would like to share before we conclude?
I will. Hi. I just would say to all filmmakers, this is a wealth of information. And I think all of the film commissioners here are paid by the local government or community. And so I say take advantage of what there is here to offer. If you have questions, if you're unsure, this is a safe call to make and we can help you. And I guess that would be the big message that I would put through. Even if you're a community member and you go, how do I get to be an extra in a movie? How do I get my property used in a movie? What if you're a business? You rent copiers. You are a local office supply store. The reason film commissions exist is because of the economic impact. And so if you want to participate in that, there is a wealth of information on the screen right now. Take advantage of it. Pick up the phone, give us a call, and let us see how we might be able to incorporate you in the industry.
Yeah, caterers, seamstress, those kind of things, even dry cleaners. These are all things that carpenters, these are all things that they need for crew members. So not just only actors and producers and things like that. When a production comes to town, they utilize eateries, everything that they might need on set. Flowers sometimes for, top talent. They need those for their trailer every day. So all of those things are important when making a movie kind of thing or any kind of production. So you never know what they might need. So always get that information to us. We keep that on file here. I know for my office, but I'm sure for everybody else's office. And just to reiterate, on our film site, we have a place where you can actually if you have a location. We're always looking for new locations, so that's something to look at as well. It makes it easier for us to help sell our area as well. And then as what Kimberly said, it brings in tourism dollars. People still keep coming to see the Christmas card locations. Those little things come back. And Auburn, obviously, phenomenon filmed almost 25 years ago, if not longer. And people still come and see, where did John Travolta stand? So those are the kind of things that, bring people back around.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate as well. We have a database for crew, but also for support services. So, go on there, see where you might fit as a business, and apply to be on our website. And then we also have there's also a tab to apply to list your location in our locations database. So lots and lots of information, but I think that's key. We need you, right? We need those resources to be able to share with productions. So check it out and get listed.
And I'll just kind of say as well, we're just building out a lot of ours. So, love to hear from all those businesses, crews, production, et cetera, that are interested in being on our list. But also what I did not mention earlier that I would be remiss if I didn't is we do have two film festivals in Nevada County. We have the Nevada City Film Festival and we have the Wild and Scenic Film Festival. Nevada City Film Festival just awarded, two grants to filmmakers, and the requirement was basically, filming at least 50% of what you're doing in Nevada County. And so one was awarded on the east side and another was awarded on the west side. So there is also, down the road, potential grant opportunities for filmmakers in our region as well.
All right. I'll have to say I still remember them filming the Christmas card, mostly because of the trauma it gave me. My daughter was 4 and we went to the church where it was filmed, and she embarrassed me horribly in front of that really cute, charming lead actor. So,
And I don't know if anybody saw the chat, but I was actually in that film.
uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm right front and center, wearing very the similar color that I'm wearing now. And I was in the dance scene, and I passed right by the camera. You can't miss me. It was the
I actually have a question. So Glenn County is so far behind compared to what you guys are doing, and I'm the kind of person that wants to get stuff going and actually build it up to what I believe it can be. And we don't have anything regarding, film commissioning and stuff like that here. I mean, I don't even know where you would go for that. So it's very bare. What do you recommend?
I would say, as being kind of the youngest of the other film, office, reach out to any of us. It's a very sharing group. Probably each of us would have a little different perspective on where to start and where to begin. But yeah, I mean, there's just some very basic, things that you can kind of look at and see, initially things like, do you already have a film ordinance? Does it need to be updated? Who are the different film partners in your area? But yeah, I think all of us would say, feel free to reach out to any of us.
Cool. Thank you.
Also,
Or the California Film Commission.
also, I just Googled it, and it's Google. According to Google, you go to the Glenn County Planning and Community Development
Yeah.
Office, and they might have something.
Okay.
All right, we're about 15 minutes early, but if there aren't any more questions, I'm not opposed to ending early.
I have a question.
All right.
Hi, this is addressed to everyone, but also specifically Jennifer. Are there any current plans with developers to build out studio sites for filmmakers? I know, Jennifer, there was a conversation about perhaps flipping Cal Expo into a studio. Are those talks with developers still in motion? Any of you have plans to really commit in that way in the counties that you're in?
So I haven't heard from the project in a long time about the Cal Expo project, but to be completely honest with you, I mean, it would be great. It would be wonderful to have a soundstage in Northern California in this area. I would love one. But the reason it hasn't happened yet is because the return on investment doesn't pan out unless you have a partner with, say, a streaming service or a studio that's going to continually funnel projects to that studio. It's likely not going to happen. There are studios vacant right now in Los Angeles. A studio is not the need or should be the focus right now of what we're doing. We have smaller studios that can be used for cover stages and that sort of thing. But as far as a professional sound stage, I just don't know that this is the market for it. We're not, the industry is really going through a transition right now, and we're losing a lot of filming in California. So yeah, I just don't think, and again, I would be more than happy if private equity industry would come to the table and say, we're going to do it regardless, we're going to create this thing. I would love that. But it's not something that I think certainly the city's going to invest in currently, or even the county. We would support it, but it's not like we have funds for that.
So I was recently in Los Angeles for the Association of Film Commissioners International, and talking with the industry people there, like Paramount Pictures. We were there for that, and Raleigh Studios, and a lot of the producers and movers and shakers. That was one of the things that came up, and they said that it's not a selling point necessarily if you have a studio in your area. The selling point is if you have a space. So it can be a warehouse, it could be a large barn, That's the selling point. So they go, that's not a make or break deal for them in some cases. It just, if the area is correct, then they'll come to it. And if they have a large space that they can make a studio in, then they can do that. Kathleen, correct me if I'm wrong, but they use the Best Western in that film that I worked on as a studio space. They used the big conference room and built a set in there and had that set in there for a good 3 weeks. So it just depends on that space. So,
Yeah, I'll jump in here. I totally agree with Jennifer. This is not the time. It would be great to have a studio, but as film commissioners, we have to look at our local community and are those investors going to be able to keep it full? But maybe this is a great segue since we have a little time to talk a bit about how very, very important the California state incentives are. Just recently, those were raised by the governor. And I know that the two biggest projects I'm working on right now are here in the state of California only because of the incentive. So I'm working on a huge project, and that project almost did not come. I was competing with another state for it. And I just think it's important to speak a moment so that people understand that production companies are offered money to go other places in the United States, other places all over the world. So a lot of production companies might want to stay in California and they will not do it because if they're given a percentage anywhere between 10 and literally 45% of the money they're spending, and they're spending millions of dollars, they can't justify why would they stay somewhere where they don't get the incentives. And and I'm sure it's still the case, but before we did not have enough incentives to go around. So production companies were applying for them and they weren't all receiving them. It wasn't, and it is complicated to apply for an incentive. It's not, we're just like handing them out, like someone says they're going to do a movie, okay, you'll get the incentive. I mean, they have to go through a very rigorous process. They go through escrow. They have to prove that they have qualified expenditures. And I think we really need to applaud the California Film Commissioner and our governor for boosting these up and not putting us at a higher level, but just leveling the playing field because people want to stay in California. A lot of talent is here. A lot of people just love California and they would like to make their films here. But when other states and other countries are offering such a perk to go there, the executives, especially at the studios, are going to say, I mean, for a while, literally, there were companies coming where they were told, oh, yeah, we were told we can't film in California. So this is really big. And I think it's important for people to understand how important those incentives are when they're mentioned and to support the lawmakers who support the incentives, the film incentives.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but those incentives are really for larger budgets, not for independent filmmakers with ultra low budget, micro budgets, low budget films. Those incentives aren't really trickling down to the indie filmmakers. They're for larger projects.
Well, so indie filmmakers, if you've ever gone to Sundance, indie filmmaker doesn't necessarily mean a small film.
It doesn't, right.
Okay. But yeah, they are. Maybe Jennifer might actually speak better to this one. Can you take this one? Or
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not sure what their minimums are, but for the California tax incentive, it's essentially based on how many jobs you're creating. So if you're just a small independent, you're only creating 20 jobs for however many days, then likely you're competing with bigger projects who may have 800 days for filmmakers, right? Or I mean, 800 total. So like a crew of 50 working for, 3 weeks is going to be more days worked, right, by crew. So that's kind of what you're doing. But the only way we could pass, so I was, as a member of FLIX, Film Liaisons in California State last year, a lot of us lobbied the lawmakers and went to the Capitol and talked to our representatives about, increasing this just so we could remain competitive, so we wouldn't have this runaway production. So it is everything that we're trying to do. And, we tried to keep this, but the lawmakers could only basically sell it as a jobs bill, right? So it has to only be based on how many people you're hiring, so that, and honestly, that's the only way it was going to get through and to pass, which it did. So it was really a jobs bill. But yeah, so if I was, going to advise you, I would say, smaller independent films, really look at the smaller towns and cities across California that do have incentive programs. So ours is not in Sacramento, it's not a tax incentive, it is a rebate program. So yes, it's marked at $1 million. And, we are considering, if nobody taps it, to lower that a little bit, maybe to 750,000. But yeah, it's, then, so you can look at the smaller incentives that are offered, or the smaller rebates, but then also look at the grant program. So like our grant program is, it's $10,000, and we call that a micro grant, but $10,000 is, is a lot of money when you're shooting your first film, or you're shooting a short or a proof of concept, right? So, I would encourage you, if you're looking for funding, to look towards those types of things.
I think Sacramento's so lucky to have you, Jen. Honestly, none of this was happening before she came into that office, and a lot of really cool things are happening for the state capital, Sacramento. And so good on you, Jen.
Thanks. Yeah. But I mean, I obviously couldn't do it with the support of these other ladies, right? I mean, we are all a force. And now that we're all working together, we are this like great trifecta. And now we're adding Nevada County, right? So now what does that make us? A square? I don't know. But like,
we're going to have to come up with something.
Yeah, we'll have to come up with something. Yeah, there you go. But yeah,
maybe a star, because we all cross over each other.
Yeah.
I want to mention one other thing about the incentives that is really cool is if you find yourself talking to someone, a lot of the misconception is that it doesn't benefit the entire state of California. And indeed it does. And that they are actually putting things into place to push projects outside the zone. And the zone is a 30-mile radius around Los Angeles that a lot of filmmakers film in. And so when a project comes in and they say, we're going to shoot completely out of the zone, they would have a higher priority in the selection, so that it is fair for the entire state. And I think that's an important caveat as well.
I was at a presentation at the Arts and Culture Summit on last Monday, and there was someone speaking to, I didn't understand fully because this isn't my world, but there was a 5% and a 10% bump for filming outside of LA for different things. So
Correct.
Right.
I know they have created that in, okay, someone who actually understands this can speak to it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I fully understand it, but it's like out of the zone, there's like certain bumps for expenses versus labor, right? So we tried to lobby to get it all together, like shoot out of the zone, you get an additional 10%, right? But they sort of broke it down and we didn't get everything we wanted. But yeah, Sam from the Oakland area was talking about that. I was in that seminar as well. But yeah, so we have things to work towards, right? We're working on possibly a commercial incentive now and a post-production incentive for the state of California. So, more to come, and who knows, maybe we will be successful eventually in getting more money out of the zone to pull it into our communities, which would be great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've also helped lobby with Jennifer to Denise, and one of the things is you might think everything goes to the above the line people, but right now the way that this particular tax credit works is for the below the line. So keep that in mind as well. So it's
Okay.
not necessarily talent that's getting it, that's,
Mhm.
top name talent. It's the below the line. So
Gotcha.
that's what,
Thank you.
All right, we have 3 minutes to wrap up. If anybody has any other question or anybody has anything else they have forgotten to share that they'd like to share.
great
I just
questions,
thank
Denise,
you.
though.
I
Thank
would,
you.
yeah, I would just thank you, Jenny, and the Arts Council for putting this together and including all of us beyond, Placer, because again, we all are going to be working very closely together. So thank you for hosting this.
Yeah, when we were originally going to do it, we were just going to do Placer County, and then I forget whose idea it was to broaden it, to put it on Zoom and do it for everybody. I think it was Julie's idea, but I was so excited
Yeah.
to have some regional collaboration here, and thank you all for being here.
Jenny, may I ask one more question regarding that 10% bump?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that,
You
are
can
you
add.
referring to the rebate
I'm
on
referring to yeah,
the tax
the
incentive?
tax incentives. Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you, everyone. So
Thank
happy
you
you're
for
here,
having me.
and that we have this wonderful resource now to share with folks who couldn't be with us today. And we'll be sending that out as soon as Patrick has the video ready. And thank you, Patrick, for
Yeah.
running our technical side today so that I didn't have to. And again, thank you, Jay Ross, our board member, for being here, and for everybody who contributed questions and information. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
All
Thanks,
right.
Patrick. Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
So long, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.